It's just a reminder that every element of every story represents an aspect of our self, our psyche. So there's an old story already told. Let's see what it evokes for us in the light of the recognition of this. It's a story about that man called Yusef. And Yusef was sent as an emissary, an ambassador from the great empire, as it was then, of Turkestan, to the monarch of Constantinople. Now, after several days of being feasted and fêted by the monarch of Constantinople, it was time for Yusef to return to Turkestan. So he came to the monarch to take his leave. And the monarch said, "Yes, you're free to go, but of course you cannot leave without taking a gift from me back to your own king." Now Yusef was immediately a little bit apprehensive, because this monarch was known to be somewhat of a trickster. So Yusef waited with some trepidation as to what form this gift was going to take, and then the monarch clapped his hands, and out came several servants holding a golden chain, and on the other end of the chain was this magnificent leopard, green eyes, sleek body. But of course, Yusef's immediate thought was, how am I going to take this creature all the way back to Turkestan with me? But of course, what could he do? He could not refuse this gift. So he took the golden chain from the hands of the servants, and the leopard followed him very docilely as he left. Well, Yusef set out on his journey home, but of course it came the time for him to rest and have a repast and for the night. And so he found an inn. But when he presented himself to the inn, the innkeeper said, "Oh yes, you're welcome, come in, but you can't take that leopard with you. It will frighten all my patrons away." "Oh," said Yusef, "but I cannot stay here without this. This leopard is a gift from your king to my king. I cannot not bring it in." "Well," said the innkeeper, "well, you know, I've got a little cabin behind the inn. It's quite clean and habitable, and you're welcome to stay there. But the only thing is that it is sometimes visited by a demon, an ifrit, or jinn." But Yusef was so tired. He could sleep on nails. So anything, so he was led to the little cabin behind the inn, and the leopard dutifully following behind him, and they settled down for the night. I mean, they'd gone into the hut, and there were a few broken bits of crockery, but it was habitable, it was clean. So the leopard and Yusef lay down for the night. But in the middle of the night, the door burst open, and in came this dreadful creature carrying a dead goat in its hand, with its jaws open and jowls salivating, and proceeded to eat the goat. Well, of course, Yusef was absolutely terrified when he saw this dreadful creature, and of course the leopard woke up too, and immediately seeing this monster, this demon, the leopard broke its chain and attacked the demon. Well, a great fight ensued. One moment it was the leopard on the top, and the next moment it was the ifrit, and so it went on. But finally the ifrit got the worst of it, and he went flying up the chimney. Well, then Yusef and Leopard settled down for the rest of the night and slept very peacefully. Well, the next day the innkeeper came along with some yogurt and some sweetmeats for the breakfast and inquired how they slept and was there any disturbance through the night. And Yusef said, yes, we slept very peacefully and the demon did visit, but my leopard took care of it, and I don't think you'll ever see that demon again. Well, then, of course, Yusef and the leopard went on their way and travelled on, and they had to climb a mountain. But it was night time, and so Yusef was fortunate enough to be able to find a cave that was quite dry and warm for them to stay the night. So they went into the cave to settle down for the night. But in the middle of the night there was a great roar and a hullabaloo outside the cave, and there was the demon again, and saying to Yusef, Come out here, I want to eat you. After disturbing me and sending me away from that perfectly comfortable abode that I had, I'm going to destroy you. Well, of course, by this time, the leopard had awoken too, and immediately attacked the demon, and a big fight ensued until finally the demon flew away, never to be seen again. So Leopard and Yusef slept peacefully for the rest of the night and set out for the remainder of their journey back to Turkestan. Well, when they arrived, there was a great fanfare. People were out blowing their trumpets to welcome Yusef back, triumphantly back from his emissary ship. But, they all balked when they saw him in the company of this beautiful creature. So eventually, of course, Yusef came into the presence of his monarch, toting behind him the leopard, docilely walking on her golden chain. Well, when Yusef explained that this was a gift from the monarch of Constantinople, the monarch just shook his head and said, no, thank you, but no thank you. He said, I've just been given a couple of lions from the Raja of India who are going to protect and take care of me. In fact, here they come now. And so a couple of servants led out these two rather big lion cubs. But of course, immediately the leopard's hair stood up on end, and the monarch said to Yusef, take it away, take it, it's yours. Yeah, I don't want it, I've got my lions, thank you very much, you're welcome to it. So Yusef led the leopard away and returned to his own home. And, he was again fated, his servants were all waiting for him. And he lay down on his lounge and was being fed sweetmeats. And there was the leopard sitting quietly beside him. And Yusef looked down at the leopard and he said, my friend, I thank you, and I honor and respect you. And to his very great surprise, the leopard responded in language and said, you have broken this spell. I am not as I appear to be, but if you will agree to marry me, I will take my true form. And Yusef said, well, of course, my dear companion, I'm free to marry you. And with that, in an instant, the leopard became this beautiful woman, long black hair, huge almond eyes, wearing a silken spotted gown. And of course, they were wed and lived happily ever after. So, looking at this recognition that we all have our tricksters and we've all had our demons. And it can be asked, what then does this leopard represent for us? What is it that we have to come to honor and respect and marry in ourselves?
The right thing happens at the right time, and we've got the right tool at the right time to deal with the right situation.
Yes.
And we honour that within ourselves and can have our own self-respect.
Good.
We can marry that.
Good response. If you were to give it a name, what would you call it then? This leopard. What's true nature? True nature?
Divinity?
Divinity, yes. Yes. And our path is to learn to acknowledge it, honor and respect it, and wed it, isn't it? So too. And that was easy, wasn't it? Out of a job, let's